Today out at the farm, I've got a pretty interesting revolver. This is a Dan Wesson 357. Stick around. Now, a Dan Wesson revolver is sort of a unique beast. If you've ever heard of a Dan Wesson, well, if you haven't heard of Dan Wesson, the last name should be familiar. That's Wesson, as in Smith & Wesson, right? So this should be a Smith & Wesson revolver. No, it's not. So Dan Wesson was Daniel Wesson's grandson, I believe. He started this company. It created, these 357 revolvers that were sort of unique in that you could take them apart at home, like completely apart, and swap out barrels. You didn't have to be a gunsmith to be able to do this. So these barrels are meant to be able to be taken apart. This outside part is just a shroud. On the inside is the actual barrel. And at the very end of the barrel, we have this little nut that will loosen up that will allow you to slide this shroud off and unscrew your barrel to replace it with a shorter barrel. So really, you could buy one handgun and have concealability options for a snub nose revolver all the way out to, I think this may be the longest one, all the way out to like their 6-inch revolvers. Also, the way that this revolver unlocks is sort of unique. So instead of having a cylinder latch toward the rear, your cylinder latch is actually up front. So you have to pull down on it, push from the other side, and that will open up our cylinder. You'll also see that each cylinder is recessed. So when you have a cartridge loaded, the casing seats all the way through, so it sits flush like that instead of having a spot sticking out. So pretty cool. Smith & Wesson used to do that. As far as I know, they no longer do. What we're going to do now is take a couple shots at 7 yards. I've got a silhouette target set up. And we're going to shoot first with some of these arms core. Now, I've shot these before in my Smith & Wesson 442 and a Charter Arms Undercover and in a Rossi Model R92. In the Rossi, the Rossi did not like these. They were shooting all over the place. With the other handguns, it's sort of been more consistent, but we'll take a look and see how it compares to this 357 loading, which I believe these are Remingtons. Let's take a look. Yeah, these are Remington soft point or semi-jacketed soft points. We'll see how accuracy compares and how recoil compares. Okay, first we're going to shoot these arms core. Again, this stuff is, let's see, 158 grain full metal jacket, but it's a flat nose round as well. 38 specials. Again, my target is about 7 yards away. And this is what it looks like all in our chambers. Again, those recesses really are something else. That's kind of cool. So we're going to do 6 shots on single action, and then we're going to fire a couple shots of 357 also on single action, just to show you guys the recoil difference, which it's going to be a lot more stout and a lot louder. But let's give this a shot, see how we can do with this. Recoil's not too bad at all. All right, let's go check that group out. So we had 3 in the 10 ring, 2 in the 9, 1 in the 8. I mean, for me, it's not too bad. You guys know that I'm not the best shot with handguns, but that's the point of all this. Show progress, right? We'll see if there is ever any progress, but now we're going to shoot some 357. So we saw the recoil with those 38 specials was not bad. Very mild, actually. We're going to load up some 357 now. Again, this is some Remington semi-jacketed soft points. Nifty little speed loader. See how well it works in. Works pretty well. Okay, let's see if I can hold on to this. Much louder, but still, recoil's not bad. Not bad at all. All right, now I've got a jug of water downrange. We'll see what these semi-jacketed soft points can do to that. Oh, come on. Not quite the display I thought it was going to be. We'll just fire that last one on the target. Man, like I said, even with 357, this is not a bad shooting gun. Now, since I shot 38 Special first, before I shot the 357, you'll see they're kind of sticking, but still came out pretty easily. So the Dan Wesson 357 is a fun gun to shoot. Now, I only have access to this one longer barrel. I'm assuming, you know, you shorten the barrel, you lighten the gun, that 357 slaps your hand a little bit harder, but in this current configuration, it was a very easy gun to shoot. Both 38, of course, was like shooting a 22, but the 357 in this gun, since it's got some heft to it, really didn't slap my hand too hard. Also, it's got a Hogue monogrip on it, so I'm assuming, you know, if this had the stock wooden grip that would have been on it, it would have, you know, it wouldn't have absorbed quite as much of that recoil, and my hand may be hurting a little more. But in the configuration it's in right now, very smooth shooter. Dan Wesson was sold to CZ a while back. As far as I know, they're concentrating all their efforts on 1911s. So I don't know if this style Dan Wesson is still being manufactured or if it will ever be manufactured again. But there are still a lot out on the used market. You can find one online pretty easily. But it is a very fun gun to shoot. I don't know if I like the way the cylinder release works. I do prefer like a Smith & Wesson, you know, push release. Even the Ruger button style release is pretty good too. But this is just, it's sort of awkward, but it's not a deal breaker. Thanks again for stopping by. If you have not already, please do subscribe to the channel and also follow us on Instagram. It's the same name here. It's @YonderOak. I post a lot of behind the scenes video and photos from these outings, as well as cooking related stuff and pretty much anything else I'm doing. I want to thank you again for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next video.